Hello, welcome everybody. I'm just going to start this video with a nice cleansing of sage. If you haven't already felt the call to return to whatever spiritual practices you haven't had the energy or the focus to do, and I'm being honest, I and many healers I know are having trouble. The frequency is very dense, as we know, from lots of things going on. And it was particularly difficult the last month, I'd say month or 6 weeks. We had very intense eclipse season, excuse me. Right now, we have Pluto that has gone fully direct. So we are in the age of Aquarius now, fully. It retrograded. We had a chance to think about where our lives are being activated. Where do you need the most change and transformation? Where is it hitting your chart? If you ever want to do that, I can help you, or you can go to astro.com if you know your birth time. You can fill it in the horoscope and data section. And you can figure out by pressing with transits on the chart page. And it's going to show you where Pluto is in your chart, because it's going to remain there for a long time, depending on your, depending on your chart, but it's hanging around for 20 years. You have a 20-year period of a certain activation or lesson. So we sort of better accept and get used to what that's going to be, that's part of what you came here to live, is this next chapter. So the other thing that's been very intense, besides the eclipses that shift things around, is something called the Schumann resonance. I don't know, some of you probably already know, some of you probably haven't heard of it. I'm not an expert on this yet. I'm still learning. To the best of my ability, I will explain. So between the Earth's surface and the ionosphere, there are electromagnetic waves and lightning going on. And there's a frequency of around 7.83 hertz when that is in balance. And I believe that we are all affected by electromagnetic fields. I don't think you can say the Earth is affected by something and its inhabitants are not. That is, to me, a profound dissociation, to think you're separate from the Earth, separate from the moon, separate from gravity. So we're not separate from electromagnetic fields and storms. So the Schumann resonance, if you want to take a look online, you're going to find graphs, and it's going to look sort of like static from an old TV. And sometimes you're going to see that there's spikes of lots of white or whiteouts. In this case, over the last few weeks, there have been a lot of strong activity, so higher frequency than usual. And there was even a blackout period for a couple of days where it just went dark. So when these frequencies intensify and electromagnetic fields intensify, it affects our brain waves, which affects our moods, our mental health, and it affects our heartbeat. It affects our internet connections. So I have been doing my best to stay grounded and release whatever's coming up, because it's been very intense. And I'm sure you have as well. So if you're not actively doing your spiritual practices or healing practices or working with somebody, very intense time, very hard. You might have seen an increase then in some of your habits and addictive tendencies to cope with it. You know, we all do. But the best use of these times, when they are very palpable and difficult, is really to come back to the only thing you really have control over, which is you. and to learn more and more ways to eat healthy, sleep better, hydrate, calm your nervous system, and try to allow whatever is coming up to be released or cleansed or brought to your consciousness, or your memories coming back, traumas coming up, to let it happen and let it come up. So it's very hard. It's very hard because for most people, if you're addressing your shadow or your deeper emotions or the things you don't normally like to look at or admit to yourself, it's enormous energy. It's enormous. And if you have a very busy life and you've got lots of responsibilities, or you've got kids, or you're torn in many directions and you need to keep a schedule, it's almost impossible to do healing work and keep up with that pace. You'll need to slow down to do this work. So sometimes maybe that means you've had more sick days. Maybe you call in sick, you know. So just all that to say, if the last few weeks, months, 6 weeks or so has been rocky for you, you're not alone, and a lot of it is bigger than you. And we can correspond it as usual with what's happening in the world politically and all that. To me, it's like it's a mirror, as above, so below. But yeah, part of what's intense about this time as well is just coping with the sheer magnitude and speed of change that we haven't had to deal with in our lifetimes. Maybe our parents did. The silent generation they know what that is. They've lived through, some of them lived through World War II. But and of course, all kinds of people in other countries, less, we're privileged here in North America and lots of Europe. Lots of people do understand what shock and trauma and living in fight or flight is like, but for us, maybe for a lot of us here in the West, it's pretty upsetting. It's pretty hard. It's pretty new. So we're going to take a look at the Libra New Moon chart and talk about those planets. And let's see if we can help with some clarity, some feeling of a reset. It's a new moon. We plant new seeds at a new moon. Libra is all about harmony, communication, peace, fairness, beauty, and justice. Nice, eh? So we have a new moon in those themes. So it might be a very good time to reset yourself for what's to come. So let's take a look at our chart. But first, because I always forget to advertise myself, please please subscribe and share. Pardon me, and share. And if you would like to join my Intuition Cafe online, it's on Facebook. It's a group. You'll join and I'll approve you. And then you can be part of our intuition community, where we are prompted with tips, with questions, with photos, with videos, things to stimulate you, to remind you to tap into your intuition on a regular basis. And also, I intend to create some intuition events. These dark days of November are going to come soon. And I'll try to create something for November for those times. And after that, with holidays, it might be difficult. So I'll wait until January. But I do want to start some Intuition Cafe events. So here we go. Let's look at this chart. All right. So the chart is located in the Eastern time zone as usual, and that means, although it is a Libra new moon, Sun and Moon are in the 12th house, because Scorpio is the rising sign of this new moon theme. And that changes everything. Everything. Okay. So Sun and Moon and Libra in the 12th house, you need some time alone, you need some rest. You are a social person, but you also need your downtime when those planets are in the 12th house of the unconscious, of rest, of going deeper, of past life connections, of karma. And so it's interesting that there's the new moon is planting its seed in the house of the unconscious. Something deep is taking place within you, I'm sure. Um, your new changes, your new seeds, your new directions, your new goals, I would say very likely are very private. They might not even be fully formed and conscious for you to verbalize yet. And it might be a great idea to journal and write down and keep some of these things to yourself for now, because the 12th house is also about privacy. So best case scenario for Sun Moon in the 12th would be somebody who's like, creating art at 3 in the morning and nobody knows because nobody's up, you know, writing novels in remote places and having deep discussions that no one ever hears about except them and the other person. And, there's that level of depth and intimacy with the 12th house as well. So if you do have that artistic bent, if you do feel like writing, journaling, or if you are going to have very deep conversations right now, you keep them to yourself. It's very private. But a lot can be accomplished with these planets in the 12th house as well, because it represents doing a lot of the inner work that most people don't do. Now, Scorpio is the rising sign. And that means there's a mysterious veil over this new moon. There's again, privacy, sort of Scorpio rising seems aloof, even though it has this reputation of being, seductive and mysterious, or in the worst case scenario, angry or vengeful with Scorpio. But for the most part, that's not how it tends to play out, I find, in real life. Most Scorpio rising are going to carry a magnetism and a mystery. They'll just sort of make you feel like they get you and they see through you. And that intimidates people. This is why they hold themselves more detached and aloof versus their full-on passion, because they've also learned that doesn't go so well for them or for others. And so when people have an allure of like, oh, you don't quite know who they are, what they're thinking, some people think that they don't care and they project all this, coldness and aloofness to them because they can't read them. And other people gravitate and want to tell them all their secrets because they feel this space around them that they could say anything and they don't know why. So this is an interesting energy just in and of itself going on, that we have Mars and Mercury in Scorpio and a Scorpio rising, and Mars and Mercury are on the rising sign. Now they're conjunct. Just like the Sun, Moon are both at 28, Mars, Mercury are both at 20. It's very interesting. So, because it sort of feels very aligned then when degrees even match. So what would I expect from Mars, Mercury in Scorpio? Well, that's a classic aspect of a psychologist, psychiatrist, a medium also, actually. You might have, again, some very deep insights, some very deep conversations. Best case scenario, you're doing a lot of healing work. You can communicate things in a more sincere or meaningful way than usual, because Mercury, Mars, and Scorpio are allowing us to be deeper or more open, more observant, more truth-telling than usual. And of course, we know too well how that can go south. So there could be some moments where you tell the truth and it's not received, or where people tell you the truth and it's hard for you, you know? So it's a great time for reading, for writing, for journaling, for counseling work, for sitting down with a loved one, making amends, resolving something old. Excellent. Both of these things are excellent for that. So let's look at some of the aspects that it makes, because this is lovely, okay? So our new moon, Sun, Moon, Libra, actually is making very difficult aspects. So you see the red lines, it's making a complete square. It's squaring Pluto. Sun and Moon squaring Pluto is like personality conflicts, ego conflicts, power trips. You don't want to get into a Moon Pluto situation with anybody. There could be a lot of emotional manipulation with that. And somebody trying to dominate someone else, and because the moon in Libra likes to please, and it needs everybody to get along, and it needs things to be fair. And Pluto in Aquarius is just sort of chugging along like, that's nice. It's very depersonalized, doesn't care. It's got its own set of goals. It's not going to sit around and please you. It's not going to stop what it's doing and go, oh, that's true, I should look at the other side. No, it's just Pluto in Aquarius is like the revolution has begun, It's not, oh, well, maybe we should start the revolution later because that would really be upsetting to so and so. Doesn't care, doesn't do that. It's just time, and people should get with the program as far as Pluto in Aquarius is concerned. And so it's also squaring off with Jupiter in Cancer. Jupiter's at 24 Cancer, so it's very nurturing, very, very, very motherly and nurturing. Oh, do you want a cup of tea? I'll come and rub your feet. It's fine. Come and cocoon. Let me feed you. Also very emotional, Jupiter in Cancer. Very, very, raw, but not in a dramatic way. It's just the heart is open. Jupiter in Cancer, their heart is wide open. So they show vulnerability. Moon and Sun and Libra don't like vulnerability. They don't like that. No, no, no. They'd rather stay in their head. Vulnerability is messy. Come on. Emotions are messy. We don't want messy. We want things clean with Libra. We want things to just be like, okay, check, 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 check. This is all clean. This is perfect. This is the right colors. These people are getting along on a certain level and there's no conflict. There's no emotions. Great. Great. That's Libra. Jupiter in Cancer is like, oh man, I feel what you're going through. And they start tearing up and you start tearing up and you hug and you bond. So that's the conflict there with Jupiter in Cancer versus Libra. Now, imagine that hug bond moment with Pluto in Aquarius going, there's the revolution, man. Get on the street. Stop crying. But to me, they can all go hand in hand. But they are conflictual. Cancer wants to stay sentimental and emotional and be available for how people feel and stop and take care of them and put a band-aid. And Pluto's just like, the cause, man, the cause is the most important thing. Doesn't matter how you feel, doesn't matter what you think about it. Get out and protest, get out and say something, get out and fight if you have to. So that's conflictual. So of course, all of these are opposing. They're squaring and opposing. So it's a fixed square and it's a fixed cross, and it is really difficult energy. The last thing it's squaring off with is Chiron, which is now at 24 Aries. Oh, Lordy Lord, you know, Chiron adding people's wounds to the factor. Chiron in Aries is the wound of self. Who am I? Do I know who I am? Have I given myself away? Trying to please everybody? Or has it become the other extreme, where the wound of self means the person is so nervous to lose themselves that they make it all about themselves as a protection? Because if I think of someone else's needs for 1 second, I might lose myself and they might trample on me. So I'm going to make sure that I think of me, looking out for number one all the time. So there's a gross imbalance in the sense of self. You know, a healthy self knows, this is who I am. Okay, and I can see that's who you are. And I'm going to honor myself, and I can make some accommodations. I can negotiate with you, but I'm not giving myself away for you. And I can still make accommodations to you without losing myself. So Chiron in Aries is trying to balance that. It's not balanced. So there's all kinds of issues with a fear of losing your identity or holding on so tight, you know. And I think we can see parallels in the political world with that one. Fear of giving an inch, fear of making any compromises that it'll somehow taint everything else. And Chiron also is therefore opposing Sun and Moon in Libra, that wants things to be harmonious and pleasant and fair. And Chiron is like trying to make it about them. And squaring off with Cancer and nurturing and being vulnerable. Well, you can't have a bonding moment emotionally between two people when one person is only focused on themselves. Or if they don't have a self to really bring to the table that's strong enough, then the bonding is sort of shallow. It's fake, right? Like they might hug you, but they're not even really present in their body. So it's not a true bonding moment, like a Jupiter and Cancer moment. And Chiron and Aries with Pluto, again, like Pluto is like, it's about the cause. It's not about you. It's about the collective. It's not about your needs. It's about the collective. So that's where the conflictual energies are the strongest on this new moon. And this level of conflictual energy in the chart, well, there can be a lot of arguing and stubbornness, and pretty hard for things to budge forward if you're aligning yourself with any of those. Now, where the chart is working beautifully, though, is over here with our Mars, Mercury, and Scorpio. Now look at this beautiful trines that are coming out. And so Mars and Mercury, the first thing here is it's making a trine to the North Node in Pisces. Not the grand trine, but it's a singular trine. You see the blue line, but it's not triangulating up to the top. Although it sort of could. It's only 7 degrees. Anyway. Yeah, you know what? I think it should be an aspect to the whole thing. Huh. Anyway, I'll speak about that first. So again, Mars, Mercury in Scorpio, being deep, being mysterious, being spiritual, being psychological, bringing up insights, talking about deeper truths, underbellies, taboos, sexuality, things we don't normally talk about. It's trine the North Node in Pisces, which is like trying to get to this level where we understand that we are one. Now, the most beautiful way that that could play out is that the depth of communication and thinking is universal and draws more people together regardless of conflict or religion or politics, partisanship. Mars Mercury can speak a deeper truth to all that transcends Pisces, that transcends those things. This would be the most meaningful thing that could happen out of this new moon in the midst of the rest of the standoffs and the conflicts. Where are our orators? Where are our spiritual leaders? Do we really have anybody that can do that right now? There's no one clear one, is there? You know, this is sort of, in a way, the energy or the role of someone like the Pope, Dalai Lama. I'm sure I'm certainly missing others, but you get the idea. These spiritual figures are the ones we look to speak the truths that transcend the conflicts, to try to bring some cohesion and peace. Hopefully we see some of that emerge out of this new moon, or somebody. And the other beautiful aspect is that Mars Mercury Scorpio is making a trine to Saturn, which is still in Pisces, and to Neptune, which is the beginning of Aries, and to that Jupiter in Cancer. So again, if we speak the deeper side of life, if we reveal the hidden, the shadow, the taboo, and it comes to light, Saturn and North Node can help it be integrated into compassion for everyone. And Jupiter in Cancer can be sort of like the mother and the big hug in the room that helps it land emotionally. That can sort of be the shoulder to cry on, or the cup to hold the tears as we shed all the layers of pain or misunderstanding, so that people can relax and bond and set down their swords. So it's quite an amazing chart this time, because we have all our usual stubborn conflicts and flagpoles and dichotomies, oppositions as we're used to. But we also have the strongest energy that points to the top of the chart, which is this beautiful, vulnerable, healing breakthrough moment. So you might have those emotional breakthroughs. There is a second trine in the chart as well, which is Venus in Libra. So even though it's not tucked in with the moon and sun, Venus in Libra is still very strong and boding hard for this, wanting things to be social, fair, pleasant, keeping things lighter so that everybody can get along easier and create a sense of group and harmony, which you have to stay more on the surface to have groups be in harmony. Once it gets deeper, it can bring up conflict and bring up old pain, and it requires a lot of work emotionally. So Venus also wants to keep things light, and it's in the 11th house, so it wants groups, cohesion, and it wants people to get along. Now it's making an opposition to Neptune and Aries. And Neptune and Aries is like the warrior. It's again coming back to the self, but it's Neptune, so it's not very clear. Still not very clear. What is that? An idealization of this of yourself is one way to put that. So you have that as an opposition is quite crazy making, in my opinion. You have Venus and Libra that wants it to be very nice and like, oh no, we will suppress any anger or any sadness or grief. No, 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 no. Don't talk about that. Just talk about dogs and cats and weather and food and so that we all can just enjoy ourselves and have it be light and pleasant. And then you have Neptune idealizing it's, you know, who am I? Maybe I'm this. Maybe I could be that. And it's just like, oh, Venus and Libra be very stressed to have all this Aries energy trying to pull away from the harmony that she wants to create by going on tangents. However, Venus is making a lovely trine to that Pluto. So in a weird way, Pluto is the revolution, the mission, the collective. Venus in Libra wants to be part of that in this case. It's trine. So this is very likely why, because, you know, the new moon is the 21st, but the No King's March was the 18th. And I find it just amazing and hilarious at the same time that people are dressing up in inflatable frog suits and dinosaur suits. And part of the revolution is like being playful and creative. It's just amazing that we're seeing that instead of a militant aspect. We're seeing a fun, playful, dancing in the streets, singing in the streets, dressing in costumes. That is so Venus and Libra. And it's trine Pluto. So part of the revolution in this case is can definitely be this playful, creative side. You know, art changes the world. Art expresses things when the mainstream can't. So I think it's brilliant. So that is trine. And Venus and Pluto are also making a trine to Uranus and Gemini, which is over here in the 7th house. So because that's in the Eastern time zone, and that includes New York and Washington and DC, therefore, you know, Toronto, Ottawa, in our case, over here in the West. Again, Uranus and Gemini can be extremely negotiative, but oh boy, it can also just flip-flop on a dime. Who they like, who they don't, who's in, who's out, who they speak to. One minute you're hearing lots of talk, the next minute you're hearing crickets. And it's not the easiest placement to have in your relationship house. It means there's quick alliances that come and they quickly can disappear. Agreements can be made and quickly disappear as well. So, but something about that aspect of quickness and erraticness, you know, hyper social, but really not stable. It adds to Venus, it adds to the revolution, doesn't it? Sudden, quirky, crazy, unusual, individualistic actions that move things forward. Or it can be, since it's in the 7th house, a sudden meetup with people, a sudden connection to somebody. And it doesn't mean it lasts. It's not supposed to. You know, I was at a bookstore 2 days ago, and I was hanging around reading magazines, and 2 people sat down at the table with me, and we'd never met, and we just instantly, easily struck up conversations. We're talking for half an hour, and it was fun. And I got like a lift out of that, and I think they did too, even though there was a little awkwardness to it because we never did know each other. And then I ran into the guy in my own village the next day. That's very Uranus. That's very much a Uranus seventh house moment. Like suddenly there you are again. And nothing, it's not like, oh, these people are going to be my new friends or they invited me to something. No, it's just like there was a fiery, mental, inspiring, there was an exchange. There was something that felt alive about it that struck us both. So that can be happening too during this new moon. Sudden idea flashes, people that say something. And because it's opposite Scorpio here, see, Uranus is opposite Mercury, Mars. Whoever pops into your life, this could be a moment of like, you could be on the sidewalk and somebody might turn to you and say something that's just so profound and you never see them again, you know, or they might not even trying to be profound. Somebody might just observe something quickly about life or about you or someone you know, and you're just like dumbfounded, and it sticks with you because it moves you, it's going to move you forward. So I overall get a good feeling about this chart. I get a good feeling for this new moon. I think it's an excellent time to think about planting new seeds for who your let's say what version of yourself you would like to be next or now. And who knows how long this period will last before we're going to go through another sort of Schumann resonance sequence or quick changes, because I think there's more quick changes coming, more intense quick change periods coming. Certainly before January and certainly within 2026. So for now, let's say from now until holidays, try to settle in and think about your bigger picture and who you are and what you would like, what goals do you want to set, and what things are true for you now, and how can you just let yourself release an old version or an old timeline. I like talking about that in terms of timeline. It just has a nice, I don't know, it sits well with me to think about timelines, because I think there's many parallel timelines. Many people think that we're living multiple timelines at once. And it sort of, it can sort of explain in a weird way why you make one choice and suddenly your life just changes in one way or another so quickly. It's literally like sort of jumping a timeline. And we all have many versions of ourselves. Always. You know, your family sees one version of you, and your life partner sees another version of you, and your coworkers see another version of you, and your clients or your friends see another version of you, your kids see another version of you. And even within them, they have different sides and versions that they project and see. And so I think that's valid to sort of look at, well, which version of me, you know, has been the healthiest, the happiest, most productive, whatever. And what were you doing when you feel that strong version of yourself? You know, I feel it a lot when I'm singing and doing a lot of singing. When I'm doing a lot of art. And then there's another version that is this, you know, making YouTube videos and teaching. And they're both good. They're just different. So consider that in your life too. What version of you? I'm going to use the Rider-Waite today to go further with messages for this new moon. And then we'll do some readings for your sign. And one of them doesn't want to come out of the box. And it's the Lovers. Oh, that's funny. Okay. All right, let's take a look at cards to help define this new moon period. Anything else we can expect to come up during this new moon? All right, so we've got, we could stop sharing the screen. There we go. So we have the Eight of Pentacles here. I wonder if my lens is not clean because the card looks fuzzy. I'm going to clean my lens. You're going to see it go dark in 2 seconds. Okay, that's a bit better. It's crazy. Okay. So anyway, we have the Eight of Pentacles. So that's, you know, this is a man who's working hard building things like almost like a shop or a tradesman. And it's usually a card that indicates, you know, apprenticeship and being prudent, being productive, being slowly and steadily working on something, not forcing things or rushing things. There's like a very earthy feeling to it. So you know, if you have things that you need to get done, you can sort of sink into a, you know, a more calm pace about getting things done. That would be one way to look at it. So that's a nice message of sort of, you know, slow down, it's okay. And our next card, also Pentacles, Queen of Pentacles. So, you know, again, a woman who's very down to earth, practical, takes care of her physical and material needs. In this card, though, I find she looks like she's a bit down. She's looking down at her pentacle, sort of almost like regret or sadness is what I feel from this one. Wondering what's going to come. Will she have enough kind of thing? And her throne is in the middle of, you know, the grass and trees, and it's sort of, and it's outside. I mean, it's probably on her kingdom. There's roses, so she's got plenty of means, but she seems a little displaced. Hmm. Well, that can suggest, you know, feeling a little bit lost or displaced to all of us. And finally, we have the Eight of Swords. Oh, okay. And this one, you know, she's tied up and blindfolded and surrounded by these swords. Mm. Well, that suggests feeling trapped. And the ties that she's tied up in look fairly loose. It looks to me like somebody who could untie herself. The card also usually represents like mental overanalysis, you know, whether that's being OCD or perfectionist or overanalyzing. And really the swords around her are not confining her. They're very close and they're bothering her. They're in her they're in her space, but they're not restraining her from leaving. And even the blindfold looks fairly loose. It looks like, so that's where it's a funny card. It's sort of like a mental dilemma that you're in, that you do have the ability to let yourself out of. And so the overall feeling I get here, to just add to the rest of the reading, is not to get too far down and gone into your head right now. The best card in here is the Eight of Pentacles, and that's somebody who's working with their hands. So it would be a good time to slow down and think about your basic financial planning, your physical self-care, your garden, your house, your apartment. Tend to the tactile, tangible things. Try to be less in your head. There's lots to be done, to be cleaned, you know, to be sorted, to be decided. There's lots of things to cook. There's lots of cats and dogs to pet. There's things to knit or sew. There's things to build, repair, paint. That's the kind of feeling. That would be a good use of the energy right now. Let's take a look at readings for your sign now on this rainy day. But I love it. It's beautiful right now. The rain we've hardly had any rain over the summer. It's been the sunniest summer I ever remember, and fall. And so I'm enjoying a rainy day. And the leaves are like still 90% on the trees. So it's just so colorful and pretty right now. And it's warmer than usual too. So let's take a look for your sign. What seed to plant? And we're talking about from now up until the holidays. From now till January, what seed do you plant? Aries. You have the Knight of Swords. You have someone around you who's quick and clever and funny, not terribly in touch with their emotions. Could be a bit harsh sometimes, actually. And as usual, the Knight of Swords is just sort of so overzealous and dashing in fast that the horse is terrified as he's riding him, being ridden, I mean. So this would say your seed to plant, okay? It could be something that you want to shift in a relationship with a person who's like this. You might want to watch for your own energy of diving in too intense and too fast. Otherwise, it's this person. And it'll need to be done, gradually and delicately with this person. I don't think they know that they're like that, or they don't think it's a problem. And it might be you who doesn't see it or think it's a problem. It's a matter of, it's not like the person, the Knight of Swords, is wrong about whatever they think or how fast they want to do something or fix something, or it's the intensity is scaring, overwhelming, turning people off. And so the dial needs to be down. Instead of 10, it needs to be 5, kind of thing. Taurus, what seed do you plant from now till the new year? And you have the Three of Pentacles, which is the work card. Work, negotiations, contracts. Excuse me. So you need to get some work done. You need to find some people to work for you, maybe. You need to hire some people or be hired. You need to find resource people to get some of the tasks or jobs done that you need. Or if it's you who's working, you need to let people know that you are available. So yours is very much a go out there and get work or hire people, get it done. Drumming up all those connections, making those phone calls, offering your services. Yeah, it's all about work, which is cool. You will meet people, you will be offered some stuff to do, some work to do. Or you will find the right people to help you. Gemini, what seed are you planting from now till New Year? You've got the 5 of discs. Now, a lot of the time, this is a poverty type of card. There's not a lot of money flowing in, which is still bothering me how fuzzy this is. A little better. Can we see it better? Is it clearer? Well, sort of. I don't know. Okay. 5 of Pentacles can be that your own finances are a little tight. Stricter budget for you from now till holidays. But this is also a card of charity. And all depends on your position. Maybe you're the recipient of some charity. And maybe if you are in a good position, then you are offering charity. Now, the other aspect is there's a lot of worry in this card. And so between now and New Year, I feel like there's some sort of scaling back of your activities and your spending, regardless of your situation. Not, some of you will have to, some of you don't have to, but it'd be a good idea. And the other striking thing about that card is, there's 2 people passing by a church window. And so again, I'm reminded, is it a good time to reconnect with your spiritual or religious practices that give you some guidance and comfort so that it's not all about, the mundane, practical side of life all the time. It's not like a dog eat dog, tit for tat world. Things can happen because of through faith. And again, charity is a strong word in this reading too. Maybe you'll get involved with something like that for Christmas. Might be a nice idea. All right, Cancers, what seed do you plant between now and New Year? And we've got the Queen of Cups, which is your card. She is a Cancer. And her throne is, of course, at the seaside, and she's got rocks and seashells at her feet, and the water is at her feet. She's got a giant cup that has like crab claws on it, which is very Cancerian. And the back of her throne is literally like a seashell with cherubs like little children, very motherly, which is Cancer too. And so the feeling I get with this is to really honor your Cancerian nature right now. I know that sounds pretty boring, but what's that mean? Well, Cancer needs to feel things. So your goal is to not suppress your feelings. We're not talking about being dramatic and crying in public and all that stuff. We're just saying, just don't suppress yourself. Don't suppress your feelings. Let yourself feel whatever's coming up and be sensitive and compassionate to yourself. And what that can look like is sometimes, you woke up with a very powerful dream and you don't feel terribly verbal and you just want to go for a walk on your own and process your dream for half a day. That's very Cancerian. That's very staying with your emotions. You might want to spend more time with people that you do feel you can be yourself, even if that means you're sensitive or emotional. It's also, this nurturing side. So you might want to spend extra time with kids, pets, loved ones, people that that you show affection for. And it's sort of almost like a permission to like rest and regroup right now. Yeah. Rest and regroup, I think, is the main message for you, Cancer. Leos, what seed do you plant from now to New Year? All these Pentacles cards, goodness. All this earthiness. Page of Pentacles. Okay. So, we've got somebody who is younger, who doesn't have the means, hasn't built things up quite yet, but it's interesting with Leo that there's like this giant red scarf and hat, because that suggests a lot of creativity and boldness and flair in the ideas, even though there's not a lot of means to make them happen just yet. And, there's a mountain in the back, cluster of trees, there's a patch of land, there's potential, there's enormous potential with the Page of Pentacles. They have goals. So for you, Leo, it's like a time of setting or maybe renewing, rethinking and renewing. What are your long-term goals? What do you intend to build or plant or make or write, or get a sense of where you want your life to go, as if it's a clean slate right now. That would be a good way to use the new moon. And I say that not because you haven't done all kinds of work on doing that before, because I'm sure you have. It's more, I'm saying this to honor the fact that everything feels different than it did even 2 months ago. And it'll continue to feel different because we're in a massive period of change. So it's okay to go, you know what? 3 months ago, I had this goal I said I was going to do, and I changed my mind. It's okay. Change my mind. All right, let's take a look now for Virgos. What is your seed to plant this new moon? And you also have you've got the Two of Pentacles, which is all just about juggling things, juggling and changing things. You've got like some very big waves in the back with little ship and a big ship. The juggler and the infinity symbol. It's like, Virgo, you need to basically just make peace that no matter what you do, no matter how much you do, it'll never be done. Never. It's never. It's infinite. Dishes never stop. Laundry never stops. Taking care of your health never stops. Needing sleep never stops. Whatever you've got on your work plate. And so maybe you can stop being so hard on yourself and driving yourself, because it'll always be there. There'll always be more. And so when you think about setting a tone of what you're going to get done and what your goals are from now till the new year, maybe you want to just relax them a little bit, like not be quite as ambitious with it for now, so that you can also have a chance to catch up and rest and feel a sense of accomplishment with what you are getting done, instead of adding more and oh, this still isn't done, this still isn't perfect yet, this isn't, could be better, endlessly. Let yourself just accomplish something and say, I did it, that's done now, awesome, I'm gonna rest. Yes, that's your seed, Virgos. All right, Libras, what is your seed to plant from now till New Year? You've got the Seven of Swords, which is in this deck, they paint it like a thief, sneaking away from the castle with all the swords. Stealth is another word that comes with this card in the Rider-Waite deck. I don't know. Are you planning an escape from something or someone? You might be. You might be planning an escape from a partner, a job, a city that you live in, an old way that people see you and relate to you that you don't like anymore. I'm not sure. But you are, I would say, quietly gathering resources you need, whether that's money, people you can count on, books that you need, courses that you will take, whatever it is. you know, it's like he's planted two, he left two swords behind here. And they're sort of like guarding the tents, almost like, okay, I've left these two here, so if people look out, there's still two swords. They won't maybe notice that I've taken the other five and I'm leaving. And the red hat and the red boots are like, this person is thinking boldly and stepping boldly with their goals. So yeah, I don't know what you're trying to what it is that you want to extricate yourself from, but that would be your seed, is just continue to do what you need to do so that you can make that big shift. Could be anything, okay? Anything where you don't like the way you've been living, the way people treat you or see you, and you're going, no, no more, thanks. I'm letting go of that and gathering your resources. Scorpios, your sign begins with the new moon in Libra in a couple of days. Scorpio season's coming. So, and Mars and Mercury are in your sign, so you might be feeling quite activated anyway for the last little while with Mars there. Your card is the Emperor. All right, so whatever seed you're planting, of course, the Emperor deals with, you know, patriarchy. So that could be literally your dad, your grandfather, your uncle. That could be your boss. It could be a corporation. It could be the government itself, which are very broad themes to figure out. But yeah, let's see, does that plant for you? Well, pardon me. It's talking to me more for you about authority in your life, how you deal with authority or being your own authority, or people respecting your authority, or whether you respect theirs. You're examining this. So you might be with a boss that you don't actually respect that much, and yet they have authority over you. How do you manage that without losing yourself? You might feel like other people aren't respecting your authority. Why aren't people taking me as seriously? Why don't they think I could do the job? Because I can. That might be playing out that way. So yeah, I would examine those kind of issues, because I find most Scorpios don't really want to deal with authority outside themselves. They are their own authority. So, but you know, we all get our challenges along the way, and Mars in your sign means you might have had people contesting you or coming up against to challenge you, because you know, it'll either energize your sign when Mars is there, or it'll be a conflict or something that goes against you, right? So you might have some sort of opponents that seem to arise in a way. Dissent, you know, if you are boss, you'll have to take a look at issues of authority. If you are the boss or the authority and people are pushing back, you might have to take a look and ask yourself why, and is there something you need to adjust in your style? So yeah, that's quite a deep theme right there, isn't it? And of course, when you link it back to your dad and your grandfather and stuff, you can look at this generationally and see, why were you raised with these ideas of power and how to be powerful. All right, Sag, what is your message for, what seed are you planting from now to New Year? And we have the Eight of Wands. So you, all these wands you see, they're all flying in the air. A very Sagittarian-like card, you know, lots of movement, activity, travels. Pardon me. So for you, your the seed you're planting is to be very, very active. You're setting in motion many things at once. I mean, they're all thankfully flying in the same direction as each other. They're not conflicting with each other. So that's an interesting way to look at it too, is are the goals that you're setting, because there's probably many things, are they aligned and bringing you in the same direction? And if you list down all the things you want to get done or that you'd like to have or whatever, take a look and see how compatible they are with each other. And that'll let you know which ones are aligned. And because you can have many at once if they're going in the same direction and they don't cancel each other out somehow. Hmm. You know, like if you have a goal that's to have more sleep and your second goal is you want to go out to see more live music, well, a little tougher because that happens at night. You know, that's the kind of, but if your goal is to I don't know, to go to let's, I guess I'm saying this because I'm yawning so much on this rainy day, but if your goal is to get more sleep and your second goal is to start Tai Chi or something, well, they're compatible, right? Tai Chi will calm you down and help you sleep. So taking a look at the alignment of your many goals is what I would do for Sag. Capricorn, what is your message for your seed to be planted between now and New Year? And you have the Temperance card. So for you, it's all about because you're not going to stop making plans because you always do. So we're not going to. But temperance is all about understanding that some of the things that you want to see happen are beyond your control. They're beyond your timing control. They rely on a collective timing. Either there's other people involved or there's societal timing or cultural timing. So, you know, you might be working hard on something that's brilliant and you can't find the right agent or salesperson or somebody to bring it out into the world, you know, or you might have the beautiful product or art or whatever and the right promoter or agent or salesperson, and culturally it's like it's not working because it's not where people are at. They're not going to buy it. They're not going to come to the show. So that's the kind of thing with temperance. It means that you have to understand there's multiple things going on at once for when things work, and we don't have control over all of them. And so what do you do with that? You continue to pursue the things that you want, but you do it with just a little more leeway to let go when you're trying and something isn't working. It's like, okay, so that one, okay, let's just refocus over here because this one is slow and not moving. We'll just do this one now or do this part because this is moving. And it's like a philosophy of life, temperance, really, because you know, you start to understand how to read the energy of whatever you're doing or a project or goals or even teams or whatever. Recognizing when your work and your efforts are not quite making it flow and recognizing that and stepping back and allowing something else to happen or giving or letting it, you know, understanding that it's out of your hands or it's not time. It'll allow you to get a lot more done with a lot more joy than pushing and getting angry or impatient or trying harder to control things, you know? All right, Aquarius, what is the seed you're planting this new moon from now to New Year? All these pentacles, my goodness. Ace of Pentacles, well, it's all about beautiful new projects, new money coming in, new job, new friend, something new and stable that's coming. But you know, this question was about your goals and the seed. So that this is what the goal is, I believe, for you. at this time. The goal would be to bring something solid in, to solidify or make a more secure friendship. Open the door, walk through the door, let something evolve, let it become a more secure, stable connection with someone. Finding a steady job, steady contract, steady job. There's something about, you know, the seed that you plant would be more allowing more stability and secure feeling to come in. So getting yourself a bit more grounded to allow that to come in. It's a nice message, really. And finally, Pisces, what is your message? What is the seed you're planting from now to New Year? And you've got the 6 of Pentacles. I'm amazed how many pentacles I drew because I was shuffling them. We're in a very, like, that whole thing tells me the message for this energy of this new moon. Stay very grounded and slow things down and be very down to earth and grounded right now. But the 6 of Pentacles is about success, and this person is feeding the poor, you know? We saw the 5 with people worrying and passing by the church and wondering whether anybody will help them. And now we see the 6 where somebody is giving them money and, you know, maybe doling out the charity. So this is, if your goal is to increase your finances or increase your generosity or ask for help and like actually locating potential organizations or community endeavors or people that could help you, services that are available, stuff like that. I think it's time to like hunker down and identify and do a bit of research as to where you can get something that you need done. And you might be the one offering a need, but you first need to know what are the needs in and around you so that you can offer something relevant. It's a successful card. So it will succeed if you put your energy to it. I'm amazed how much the reading is all like practical and down to earth actions. Everybody needs their feet on the ground right now. All right, that concludes our reading. I hope you have a wonderful new moon. If you are still here after all of this time and you would like to click like, subscribe, and share, I would really appreciate it, helping my channel to grow. All right, have a good day.